Hi, and welcome to Pillow Talk with Angela. I'm your host, Angela Stribling, and tonight we brought back a friend of mine who hasn't been on with me in way too long. It's been at least 2 years. I'm kind of thinking it was 3, maybe even more, but he's with us tonight. You know him as the CMO, Executive Vice President of Star Vista, Time Life, and he's also the executive producer of many cruises, one of which I am a brand ambassador and one of the co-hosts of the Soul Train Cruise. You hear me talking about it all the time. Well, tonight, my friend is here and we're going to talk all about that. Please welcome Alan Rubens.
Hi, Angela.
Hi, Alan. I hope I got your title right. You've got so many.
Yeah,
I'm like, wait a minute now.
Jack of all trades, I think.
I mean, but at the top of the trade. So this is all good.
Okay, yeah.
I did mention that you are, the executive producer of certainly the Soul Train Cruise and other cruises. And that's how I know you. I know you,
Yes.
for years as the executive producer of that. But, and I want to talk about the cruise. I want to, which is already sold out, as I understand, for 2024.
I have to tell you, we're releasing a few cabins. We've counted
Oh,
up all the art. We've counted up all the artists and musicians, and we usually hold more than we need. And we're going to have a few released. So there'll be, 15, 20 cabins available over the next week or two, which hopefully will sell out right away. So there'll be a few openings.
Good, because people have been asking me about that. I'm like, I think it was sold out before we even got off the ship. Yeah. But it's good that you're able to release. So we'll talk about that a little bit more. Let's back up a little bit. And sure. I want to talk about, of course, we have to pillow talk. We got to talk about the relationship stuff. And then we're going to talk about maybe, your life before you became, the guru of cruise ships, except using these shows. So pillow talk for a moment. We're talking about, we're always talking about things that maybe it's tough sometimes for people to talk about when they're in a relationship. You don't want to hurt anybody's feelings, yet sometimes you need to spice things up. And sometimes it's people don't know how to approach the topic. So I know you've been married for a little while.
Yes.
And, your beautiful wife, and she's so much fun. I always love hanging out with you guys. So we're talking about how if you've been together for a while, some of the things that you can do to kind of keep it fresh. I mean, I'm thinking you always want to be dating, right? So what is some of the advice you can give to the people?
Oh, that's tough. I think, we've just always tried to realize that we had to be there for each other in ways to keep it fresh, to find things to make what she enjoys that I could be involved in, what I enjoy that she could be involved in, so that you could share those experiences. You could create date nights for each one of those kind of activities. So it's like if you're dating and you're single, if you're a big sports fan, you want to see if the girl you're dating wants to come to a sporting event with you, and something that she's into, her date could go to. So you try to maintain that. We've tried to maintain that so there would be some of that sharing experience, because we realize we're sharing a life together, not just a house and moments and days. It's how can you keep it where you care the next day to see each other, and you have bad days, but the fact that you want to look forward to a weekend the same way you look forward to it a little when you were single is, I'm going to go out, we're going to go to the favorite restaurant, I'm going to show her my favorite restaurant, or vice versa. So you try to keep some of that involved. So it's like, how can I make her happy? By the same way you want to take a date and impress a date, you do the same thing, hopefully vice versa with your husband and your wife that way.
It's so important, right? I mean, because you don't want to, let's say you've been together 3 years, 5 years, 7 years, and you know so much about each other. You've done so many things together. So it can be a little challenging to come up with ideas to make it fresh and something that, they might not expect.
Right. But that's where it's fun to put the time in to challenge yourself to do that. To do something that becomes also mutual excitement, some new freshness to the relationship, something new to share. So, hopefully you can continue to do that to keep things a little bit, not where it becomes so monotonous and so regulated and whatever, where all of a sudden you're bored with each other because everything around you is so boring or so monotonous.
Exactly. I love it. I mean, I know that you obviously you love music. And so I'm sure that you've introduced your wife to a lot of things that she probably wasn't exposed to.
When I was dating, I took her to the recording studio when I was making records and blasted the speakers so loud in the recording studio. She got a quick rude awakening to what kind of life she might be getting involved in.
This is your world now.
Right.
Oh man, I love
Not
that.
a radio where you're making records, you're listening to that thing as loud as it can be.
Oh yeah, you have to. You have to hear everything.
Right.
And your life before you got into Time Life, you were heavy into the whole music industry. You want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, I started out years ago making a demo on a group and making a record deal because I fell in love with the recording studio and heard this young singer singing. I thought he was as good as anything I was a big Motown fan growing up, and I heard a Philadelphia singer when I was going to Temple University, who was in the music department singing. And I knew the Temptations. I knew everybody in the group. And this kid's voice was as good as Eddie Kendrick's tenor that I'd ever heard on radio. And I said, oh my God. And I ended up making a demo on him and his group and made a record deal. And from there on was a management company, a production company, making records, producing records, became my own record label for years and had a good run of success. I tell people my first act was Blue Magic. That was the lead singer that I ran into. And the first album I made with them was Gold. And they had a gold single named Sideshow, if people go back and remember that record. And my next act that I signed was Major Harris. And my first release on him was Love Won't Let Me Wait, which went platinum.
My goodness.
So I tell everybody that I started at the top and I worked my way down.
I don't think so. We're pretty high, though. I mean, it takes ears, like to hear it, because there are so many artists who are so good and they never get a shot because people like haven't come along and figured out how to give them a platform. So we see your platinum and gold records behind you. I'm sure there are plenty more in your office. But I love that. I love that because, now you've evolved into doing something else. You're still in the industry and still, working with a lot of artists because you're the one who, decides who gets to entertain all these people who come aboard the Soul Train cruise and others. Yeah. So let's talk about that. I mean, we're talking about ways that people can spice things up. I love that for years I've been a brand ambassador and co-host on the Soul Train cruise. I'm always talking about it and letting people know about it. And when I'm on the cruise, I host these Pillow Talk events. Yes. So fun. And, so even if people are traveling alone, they're not alone. There's so many people that they end up getting to know by the end of the cruise. So let's talk about that. I mean, we were talking about, how people can spice things up. I think going on the Soul Train cruise is a good idea.
Well, if you're singing along to great music and great entertainers, you're drinking great wine and having great food, seeing a beautiful blue ocean, stopping at exotic islands, I don't know what could be more romantic or more interesting to spice things up than that. And I'm going to go back to one thing you said is the one thing that we've formed that has really helped us build the business and build the excitement and the fun of the cruise is the community feeling of the cruisers who go on board. They're opening hearts, one big family. It's the Soul Train family. It's not I'm in my cabin and I have my two friends and those people down the hall we don't know. It's a shared experience and it's just open arms. You eat with people, meet people, talk to people, and singles,
dance with people,
couples, dance with people, sing along, hold hands, feel that. Remember the times when these songs that you're hearing were so very successful, so very popular, where you were in your life when those songs were that popular. And that's a shared experience with the other consumers that are on the boat. It's like we grew up together listening to music and now here we are enjoying it again.
So true. And it's not just romantic relationships that are formed. There are friendships that are formed. And
absolutely.
So many people come back year after year after year, and they look forward to it. And, I do these interviews every week for WHUR and, talk to different artists. There's always someone in the comments saying, hey, Angela, I met you on the Soul Train cruise. I am like, no matter what I do, I'm representing the Soul Train cruise, which is proud
Well,
of
I
that.
neglected to say, as much as you said you enjoyed, we're thrilled to have you as a brand ambassador and have you as a co-host. You're part of that family. And you brought up an interesting point. One of the things that I love, because I go on the Soul Train cruise every year and so many of our other cruises that I produce and put together, I love when I'm in the disembarkation building, when everybody's showing up to get on the boat and you see people hollering to each other. They haven't seen
I
each other
love
for a
that.
year. It's a reunion. It's once a year.
Yeah,
It's our shared vacation, our shared
yeah.
time together. And there are certain, and you can request your cabins at certain locations. And some of the cabin hallways, they're like neighborhoods where every
Yeah.
year those same people are on. That's our street. That's our neighborhood. And again,
Oh my
it's that real feel. We grew up watching and listening to Soul Train. We grew up
God.
watching and listening to that music, and now here we are, still enjoying and sharing
Yeah.
that same experience, just at a different time in our lives with so many wonderful people.
Yeah.
That's the whole community feeling that we thrive and just are thrilled to see.
Yeah, and you're so right. I mean, it's hard to even describe it without experiencing it because you're
Yeah,
so right. And you could take it even up levels because it's a love fest. It's, people are supposed to be signing up and getting registered. Everybody's talking to everybody
right.
before anybody's even checked in. You're like, okay, now you're gonna get on the ship eventually. It's
Right.
really a beautiful thing to be a part of. And let's talk about the lineup this year. I was
Yes.
let's see. Okay. I'll let you do it. I had it queued up here, but it.
Okay. Well, this year the lineup, and we try to give a good mix of artists covering a few time periods during the time that Soul Train was in its existence and the kind of artists that appeared through the years. This year we have Boys to Men, which
Yes.
is just a phenomenal group to have on, and they're a great vocal group. Well, who was one of the great vocal groups that I mentioned earlier? We also have the Temptations.
Yeah.
So to me, having the Temptation and Boys to Men is showing, 20, 25 years apart, how that great soul vocal group still stayed in existence, still made such wonderful, great records. We have In Vogue, a great female
Oh,
vocal group, which is
those are
fabulous.
my girls, Alan. I cannot wait. I
I tried to
can't
get
wait.
them for 3 years and finally got them, so I was
Wait,
thrilled.
Alan, I was going to surprise you because they're friends of mine,
Oh,
and
great.
I was going to have Cindy come on. Actually, all three of them come on tonight while you're here.
Oh,
And they just didn't work it out because they're touring. So,
right.
they're going to come on the show pretty soon, but I was going to
Well,
surprise you with them.
I was a big fan,
And
so
the
I thrilled to get them on. I loved all their music, everything about them. Their shows are great, their harmonies are great. Another group that I've tried to get for years and finally got Tower of Power,
Oh my
which
gosh.
I'm thrilled to have on.
Oh,
It's
I love
again for years they kept saying, we don't want to do a cruise," and then finally, now we got to do the Soul Train cruise.
if you're going to do a cruise, do
Right.
this one.
Stephanie Mills, who'd been on a few years ago, is phenomenal. Her performance is great. Another group that we had them at a pool show, and they just, I hate to say tore the house down, but tore the boat down. War,
Oh,
who
yeah.
were absolutely phenomenal. Rose Royce, the Manhattans,
They
Melba Moore, the Dramatics, the Miracles, Family Stone, which is Family Stone, now fronted by Sly's daughter since he doesn't tour anymore, and they do an unbelievable job.
Beautiful.
Unbelievable.
Now, wait, when
Uh,
you say the miracles, is Smokey Robinson going to surprise us and show up?
no, but this is
He's done it before.
Smokey has endorsed this version of the Miracles and this lead
Nice.
singer.
Beautiful.
So these are the ones that carry his blessing to carry on the music of the Miracles.
Nice.
We also have radio. We have the Jones Girls.
Love them.
We have Bobby Wilson, who's Jackie Wilson's son,
Oh, I
who I've
haven't.
had on other cruises, who's phenomenal, just a wonderful performer. You'd think you were hearing Jackie Wilson and sing and dance and perform. His son is absolutely
Oh,
phenomenal. We thought that would be great. And of course, we have
love
Tony Cornelius, Don's son, as our host. As you know, you share many of events with Tony.
yeah.
And Tony's on board and carries on the tradition. And Don, I think he still has Don's wardrobe that he wears. He's his height. He looks just like Don, and he wears, again, I think it's the same closet that he's pulling that wardrobe from. And you could
I
attest to
think
that.
right. And he definitely has. I mean, Tony's got his own swag, but it
Right.
reminds you so much of his father.
Yes.
So
Yes.
much.
And as we know, what Soul Train meant to Black music and to all of those artists was so very important. And I grew up in the Black music world. And to me, when I got the call for one of my groups to be on Soul Train, it was like, I made it. That's it. I can retire. It's
Okay.
all over now. But that show had such an importance and an impact, and to carry that legacy on and
Yeah.
put that on a boat to share the wonderful feeling that Soul Train gave on a boat today again with all these greatest artists. I'm just thankful every day that I can do it.
Yeah, it should be around forever. I mean, Soul Train
Yes.
was such an important part of my life as well, and probably most African Americans in this country, front and center, and not just us. I mean, it was everybody that was a part of American history.
Right.
But I was front and center trying to learn the dances. It didn't really help, but
And as you know, we bring some Soul Train dancers on the cruise who
yeah,
are from the show, and they give dance lessons and some
yeah,
they do some extracurricular things that really make it fun and bring back that feeling of Soul Train.
oh yeah, they do. They're at almost every concert doing the dance.
Yes.
I'm always trying to hit up Mo Q and Derek to some moves. I'm like, okay, come here.
Derek is everywhere. He must sleep very hard at night because he's everywhere during the day.
Everywhere. He probably gets up really late every morning because he's
Right.
at every show.
Right.
Man, it's so exciting. Well, I'm happy to hear that you've opened up some cabins. So
Yes.
for people who are interested in booking, what do they do? SoulTrainCruise.com?
SoulTrainCruise.com, and they can see again. And there's a few more acts on I didn't mention they can see there's comedians. We have a Soul Train Comedy Club, as you know.
Oh,
We bring
that's
some
always fun.
wonderful comedians on. And there's a lot of events, whether they're the newlywed game or the marriage game, fun that you're involved in so many things.
Yes.
That we really make. It's not just seeing the performances, it's a shared experience, a very involved experience, and something that morning, noon, and night, we try to give activities. As you know, we keep you running
Yes.
around. I'm sure you come home and sleep for a week after you get home.
Exactly. Yeah, I love every minute of it though. And you know, what's also fun is people have access to the artist. I mean,
Yes.
you know, you can go to a concert. It's like going to a concert every single day and night. However, what makes this even better is you see your favorite artist just walking around on the ship or having dinner or, you know, and they're happy to say hello. So, you know, just normal concerts, you don't get that.
Yep.
But being on the cruise, just like everybody else who's happy to be there, so are the artists. And a lot of the people that you mentioned come back again and again and again. So, yeah.
Well, happily they enjoy it. And there's a feeling, the same way I said for the community of fans, they grew up with these fans.
Yeah.
So that's that shared feeling. Here, we're still here, still enjoying him. Thank you for coming. And again, most of these artists are very approachable, where you could say hello. You could walk up and say, I remember seeing you in concert. You came to my city. So, you know, there's that kind of feeling of we did it together. We're still here. Let's enjoy it together.
Yeah. And people are surprised by that. The fans are really surprised and impressed because so many times people have come up to me to say, oh my gosh, I just met Smokey Robinson, or oh my gosh, I just had a conversation with, you know, so-and-so, Olita Adams, or whoever that artist might be. And they're just as shocked that they took the time to take a picture or to say hello. So it's really nice. It's like kind of like a family atmosphere.
Yeah, we do the panels where we'll have a subject where we'll put 3 or 4 of the artists on a panel to discuss what it was like in the old days. And they tell some great stories that you would never hear under any other circumstances and let you into their life and what it was like growing up as that artist. So again, it's a kind of an open door feeling that you get of where it's not you're in the audience and they're up here on the stage.
Exactly. And you're right. To your point, a lot of the artists, because Tony and I co-host the All Access, and that's basically, you know, the biggest artists who are there, who, you know, agree to do it. And we'll sit down and talk about things that, you know, maybe their fans didn't know about them. And then afterwards, we'll say, okay, any questions? Or, you know, it's almost every single time they'll say, no, we want to meet you. And that's your opportunity to come up, get an autograph, take a picture. And, you know, it surprises me that the artist will stay out there that long and just do it. I mean, I think they love it as much as the fans do. They love connecting with their fans. It's a beautiful thing. I mean, you know, it's a little ways away. What are the dates, Alan? I should have this information in front of me.
I think it's January 23rd.
It's a week. a week that we will never forget. Well, I'm excited about it. I'm so happy to see your face. Usually when we've done these, it's only been audio. Now everybody gets to see you.
Right.
This is Alan Rubens.
And I'll say one more thing on such a good. This year we're going to Tortola, which is a wonderful island.
Oh yeah,
And
I didn't ask
and
where we're going.
yeah, Tortola and St. Martin, which are two wonderful
Love St.
locations.
Martin.
So,
I've not been to Tortola.
oh, beautiful, beautiful island. When I went there a
Hmm.
few years ago, one of our cruises, and I said, "Oh, I got to get back." So I was pushing for that dock space a few years ago for Soul Train, and happily we got it.
Nice, very nice. All right, well, I will see you on the ship if I don't talk to you sooner. Maybe we can do this one more time before the actual cruise.
For
If I
you,
can.
anytime,
Okay.
anytime.
That sounds like a commitment to me. Alan, it's always great to see you. Thank you so much. I'm really looking forward to seeing you again soon. And everybody, don't forget Soul Train Cruise is coming up 2024. It's almost booked up. You know, you got lucky because some of the cabins have opened up and people have been asking about that. So all you need to do is go to soultraincruise.com, book your cabin as soon as you can. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Angela.
We'll
Bye.
see you soon. Bye.
Bye.